Hello everyone. There will be... Hold on. Now that I have your view count, there will be spoilers for Rime of the Frostmaiden in this video. So if you are a player or plan to be a player in this campaign, I suggest this is the time you say goodbye. The beginning of Session 7 starts with the party sleeping at the tavern called the Uphill Climb, which is in the town of Caer Dineval. The party wakes up to a knock on the door of their bedroom. It turns out that Val and Raven, who have the highest perceptions, wake up first, and they realize that they have both fallen asleep holding shards of Chardolin in their hands, and it seems like they have clutched it so tight now there's blood oozing out of their palms, which is uncomfortable and gross. The knocker at the door is Mr. Rourke, who's the proprietor of the Uphill Climb, and he hands over a sealed letter to Val, who is the townspeaker of Goodmead. The letter is from Olivesa Unampur, who Val has left in Goodmead as his second-in-command. The letter is fairly simple. It informs Val about a combined townspeakers meeting of the 10 towns in Bryn Shander in about 2 weeks. The party comes down to the main hall of the tavern and finds that there's a ruckus going on. Not a bad kind of ruckus, but a drunk and disorderly happy kind of ruckus. And at the center of it is this loud, handsome man with auburn hair. The party introduces themselves to him, and it turns out that he goes by the name Dana. At this point, Val rolled a super high insight check and totally figured out that he's going by an alias and not his real name, and challenged him. With a fairly low charisma, Val asks him, "Hey, tell me your real name." And he's like, "Dude, no, there's no way I'm ever telling you my real name." And he's like, "If you don't tell me my real name, something bad will happen to you." And then Dana is like, "Oh, really? What's bad gonna happen?" And Val just stares at the DM because he can't really improvise a quippy response to that. Over breakfast at the tavern, the party also finds out that some Bremen fishers are terrified of Mayor Dwalden. I don't really remember what that is, but it's something of a quest that I guess the DM wants us to go on. That happened. Also turns out that there are some dwarves from Bryn Shander who will pay money to find a lost shipment. I don't remember anything else about this. Wow, I have not done a good job of taking notes in this session. Also, for some random apparent reason, Don Quiro's shadow starts dancing and the whole party goes, "Vampire!" But at that point, the super metagaming me also realizes that this is a regional effect of night hags, and now we are starting to completely metagamey-wise formulate who could be the night hag around us. Not sure. At this point, the really sane person in the group, Agric, played by my friend Michael, just says, "Okay, guys, let's just go to the keep." That was the plan we had. We're going to go to the keep and talk to the townspeaker, who was supposedly ill and has sinister black figures visiting him in the middle of the night. Oh, poor Michael. He's just stuck in this group of us. As we go to the keep, we find out that it's a very paranoid type of location. There's a Barbican Gate entrance with 4 doors. There's an oak door with like reinforced iron. Behind it is a portcullis, and then there's the small entrance hall with murder holes above us, and then there's another portcullis and another oak reinforced door. This is the point where I totally make a note in my head. We are not starting any kind of shit inside this keep, because if our escape route has 4 strong doors, it means it will take at least 2 rounds to open them and someone's gonna die. The guy who greets us is named Kevin, and he is supremely rude and pisses everybody off until Huar Malfoon, I think that's his first name, but from now on I'm just going to call him Malfoon because Wizards of the Coast really needs to come up with some better fantasy names. So Malfoon shows up and allows the party to enter. Malfoon is wearing a necklace with a blue stone pendant. My note says Chardolin, ? We still don't know. He's followed by a tiefling woman. She introduces herself as Fel Supara. You can't see me rolling my eyes, but believe me, I'm rolling my eyes. Wizards of the Coast, come up with some better names. Go read Gary Gygax's Book of Names, for God's sake. From the very brief conversation we had with them on the courtyard, it seems like Malfoon and Fel are scared of someone called Lady Avarice. Now that is a good name. We find out that Kadroth is basically the one who's in charge at Caer Dineval since the speaker is always ill. Kadroth has taken over the responsibilities of the town speaker. It seems like apparently we are supposed to go see Kadroth first, but Malfune for some reason wants us to see someone called Hefe. Eye roll. Also at this point, Agric finds a small outhouse, not an outhouse per se, but a small addition to the keep, and sees that there are some dogs inside there with a little boy sleeping amongst them. Obviously, he immediately tries to make friends with the dogs, but instead ends up making friends with the 8-year-old boy. We enter the main keep and it seems like the first room is basically a giant dining hall with 3 huge tables out there. At this point, somebody rolls super high on perception and notices that little girl, Malfune, and Fel all have these Chardalyn pendants. Oh, so we did find out that these are Chardalyn pendants. Now, what does that tell you about my memory? Inquiring about these Chardalyn pendants reveals that they all worship the Dark Prince, and my metagamey ass immediately went to Grazed. I was wrong about that. At this point, a random irritating person enters the room and introduces themselves as Thoob. Eye roll. He claims to be second in command to Kadroth and wants us to go see Kadroth immediately. But Malfune is like, nah bruh, they're gonna go see Hefe first. We go up some stairs and through some maze of doors and end up in a room where we find this peg-legged, venerable-looking dwarf by the name of... Oh, I see in my notes that I mentioned that the name of the dwarf is Hethel and not Hefe. That makes much more sense. I'm sorry, Watsy. Hethel looks at all of us and says some strange cryptic things, like to Val, he talks about a druid in Bryn Shander. To Don Kiro, he talks about the nightmare of his past, the 3 are here. To Agric, she says, flame of the past, embers still burn. And to Raven, she says, bad news, that right hand of his. Also, we learned that Vass has something to do with a fish on a wall. She also goes on to say that Zadrok Sunblight, a Duergar warlord, will conquer Icewind Dale. Zadrok has overground fortress Pyre. His forge is driven by still beating heart of a red dragon, and he plans to destroy the 10 towns. She also lets us know that they all worship the Dark Prince of Stygia. And at this point, my and Ryan's metagamey asses just went to, ooh, Levistus, that's just so cool. Are we going to fight him in this campaign? And the DM is like, dude, stop metagaming. Then we go to see Kadroth, who is a red tiefling, and he also has a Chardalyn necklace. But from some of the internal dynamics that we went through, it seems like the others do not really trust his faith in the Dark Prince. So I'm not very sure what's going on in there. He learns that Val is the townspeaker of Goodmead. He welcomes us to the keep and invites us to stay over there. He does tell us to stay away from the 2nd floor and the water cistern. At this point, we are thoroughly creeped out by the power dynamics of this keep, and we're totally thinking, maybe this is a little bit too high of a level for us, so we should probably just leave. But of course, as we are about to leave, Agric decides to go talk to the dogs. This proved very useful, actually, like most of the things that Agric does. He finds out that a few months ago, people with horns showed up in this keep. I'm guessing those are the tieflings. And since then, the townspeaker has been ill and things have not been very right. They also talked about this pale tiefling who once went to the Northwest Tower and never came out. Also, we found out that to go to the cistern, we have to go through the Northwest Tower. So obviously something shady is going on there. At this point, we all leave the tower, and Agric really wants to take the investigation, go back and spend the night there. But I'm like, dude, I don't think it's a good idea to turn into a mouse or a cat in the middle of the night and sneak around this keep. I'm very sure that someone will catch you and we're all going to get into real trouble. And do not forget, there are 4 doors to get out of this damn keep. After a lot of the party arguing amongst themselves, in the end, we decided that, okay, we are going to split the party. Of course, at this point, I look back at Theron and I realize that he's just going, oh dear lord, these idiots. After some more deliberation, it was decided that Raven, Vass, and Val will go back to the keep and ask to spend the night there, while Agric and Don Kiro, the very stealthy ones, will stay outside and keep an eye and basically do a stakeout of the keep to see if any sinister dark hooded figures show up to meet the townspeople. Vass, Val, and Raven goes back to the keep, and Raven does some amazing role-playing and very high deception and persuasion rolls to convince Kadroth that, oh, we were so touched by their worship of the Dark Prince that we are here to learn more about him. Hearing this, Kadroth is like, oh, folks, I'm so touched that you're here to join our religion. However, do not go to the Northwest Tower or the Cistern. At this point, Val, in his infinite charisma, me by the way, asks him, oh, what's wrong with the Northwest Tower? Why can we not go there? And Kadroth promptly says, because I don't trust you. And that is where that session ended.